All right, welcome back, everybody. Aesop Grimm here, and this is the continuation of our first chronicle in the series for Mass Effect Legendary Edition. We're in Mass Effect 1. We just rescued Dr. Liara Tassoni, so now we're going to go through and do the Normandy dialogue. And then if I'm feeling up to it, I'm going to record another episode after that of whatever next mission there is. I do want to keep those separated because it helps people understand what this episode is about dialogue, and then that episode's about a mission, etc., etc. So people can kind of skip what they want to skip. Okay, so let's go ahead and roll forward here. I've got my timer started. Again, we're not really trying to stick to any kind of time rule for this series. I'm sort of just letting things play out, and I'm picking natural breakpoints where I can. But in this one, this is more rigid. We're just going to do all the dialogue.
Yes, Commander?
Yeah, let's check in on him and see how he feels.
Speak freely, Presley. I want to know if you have a problem with non-humans.
I trust you, Commander. If you think they belong here, then so do I.
Okay. Honest answers for honest questions.
How did you end up assigned to the Normandy?
I signed up with the Alliance as a navigator right out of school, following on my grandfather.
Oh, we know
were
this.
One of the... Of course, the only reason the colony was still standing was because of you, Commander. I can't believe you held out as long as you did.
Carry on, Presley.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we've heard that before. We got codex entry here, I assume? Yeah. Maybe another one right here. Yep. Joker, do you have anything new?
I prefer gold to silver, for my medal. I think you could recommend me for one since I pulled your boots out of the fire.
Oh, boy.
If we present you with a medal, you'll end up sitting on stage listening to politicians make speeches for a couple of hours. Fun.
That's a good point. They'd probably make me shave, too. I spent the last 7 weeks working on this baby. No medal's worth that. So, Commander, why don't you tell me why you're really here?
Okay, so we have done these options. I'm pretty sure I've asked for a ship status report before.
How's the Normandy performing? Is she everything they said she'd be?
She's the best ship in the fleet. If you've got a pilot who knows how to handle her.
Yeah, we've heard
Balance isn't what you... The Normandy's probably too much ship for your average Alliance pilot, Commander.
I have to go.
All right, see you.
Okay. Codex entry. Caden, I keep wanting to call him Aiden, is not up here. Ah, this is new. No, wait, that's just where we leave the ship. Okay. I believe there's nothing new back here. This is where we came out of. There's no new exits or anything. No codex entries. This might be a relatively short episode. But I am assuming Liara is somewhere. And we want to get things going with her. As I've explained in the past, and I don't think I explicitly explained this, but I did mention the way I do things, one romance partner for the entire series. I'm not going to be going back and forth between the different ladies on the team. And I think that makes for the best story, the most... it puts the most stuff on the line. It's the most believable as a real relationship. That like when you're watching a movie and you see people that are in love with each other, they got to go through trying times, or there's a surrounding event, like a mega event, like a World War II or something like that. And those are all things that are designed to tug on your heartstrings. So that's what I'm hoping for with this playthrough. Here's Caden.
Anything you need, Commander?
We'll talk another time, Lieutenant.
Commander?
All right, so it's looking to me like none of the people that have been around have anything new to say. I want to check them all just in case, and we'll save Liara for last. I think that's what I'm planning right now. Okay. Most of the crew is here.
So, we've got Saren on the run.
Ah, see, there's a new input.
It won't be long now. Saren's good, but I'm better.
Well, that's a little cocky.
Good. He's rotten. To the core. I could tell as soon as I met him.
Why didn't you tell me this sooner?
I would have if I thought it was important.
I'll decide what's important. Now tell me how you know Saren.
This was a while ago. A bunch of mercs were bragging about a job out near the edges of the Terminus systems. They said it paid well and the boss was never around to ride them. They said he was looking for more men, too. So I checked it out.
I didn't know Saren was openly recruiting mercs.
It wasn't that open, and he only showed his face once. We'd been raiding ships in the area for months when we took out this massive cargo freighter. Our biggest haul yet. I was on board checking bodies for valuables, looking for some extra credits. That's when I saw him.
What was he doing?
What did Saren want with the ship?
I don't know what he wanted. He was just moving through the ship, watching. Couple of the mercs called him by name, but he never spoke to them. Never spoke to anyone. I had a really bad feeling about him, so I got the hell out. Didn't even wait to get paid.
Wow, he got spooked.
What kind of cargo was the freighter carrying? What was Saren after?
I don't know. All I saw on that ship was food and medical supplies. There were some basic weapons, but nothing big. If there was anything of value on that ship, I didn't see it. That's why I didn't mention it sooner.
Whose ship was it?
There was a Volus trading vessel. Big one. Lots of guards. But they were no match for us.
I bet that was the ship that guy at the Citadel wanted us to check on, that his brother was piloting, or captain of.
That's the only time you saw him?
Yeah. Didn't even know who he was. Still wouldn't if I hadn't joined up with you. But my instincts were right. Every other merc on that mission turned up dead within a week. Every damn one.
So long, Rex.
Shepard.
All right, let's see if there's upgrades that we can give. Liara. Let's actually look at what Liara's good at. We would go to squad. And, oh shoot. Can I not cycle? I think I learned this a few episodes ago. Man, I don't know what she's good at, so I am going to try and upgrade her on everything. We got a Lancer 4 at 144 DPS. Wow, the Avenger 2 at 160. I'm going to give her that. Let's go one thing at a time. So she's got the Avenger. Let's give her probably armor piercing, I'm thinking. Plus 25% damage versus synthetics. Yeah, I like that. Let's run with that. Okay, and then we can give her probably a heat sink. Well, high caliber rate of fire. I actually would prefer the rate of fire for a weapon like this. This high caliber barrel would go on a sniper rifle, I think. Weapon upgrade, improved sighting. Let's stay with the heatsink level 3. Okay, moving to shotgun. Hers does 102. We got 122, 115, and 128. The Scimitar 1. And give her... %20 damage versus organics, or 30% shield bypass, but negative 30% damage? I can't decide if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Shotguns do tend to do big damage, so you have it to afford if you're up close. I doubt that she's a shotgun person. She's a biotic. Let's give her the chemical rounds. Along with... none of those. The pistol, I think, is more likely for her. Where we will go with, I guess I'll give her the phasic. What are hammerheads? Weapon force. Physical force transferred to the target. That does sound interesting. Okay. Plus the improved sighting is what I'm going to equip on this. Okay, then sniper rifle 73 versus... I think I'm going to go with the Reaper. We'll give her phasic rounds. Level 3. Plus that high caliber barrel. And then Omni Tool, Biotic Amp, and Armor, none of which is applicable to her. So we'll go back. Here's Tally. Let's look at Garrus first. When it comes to... Oh, let's actually... Rex, are you able to upgrade? Not yet. Armor plating sounds good for him. You're gonna be a shoddy guy. 102, 122, 115, 102. Give him the storm with armor piercing plus, I suppose, a heat sink. Okay. I'm not sure what else you specialize in. I don't really have a pistol to give you. Okay, let's get out, find Garrus. Swap out, let's see, give him the Lancer 4, it looks like, oh, maybe the Banshee. 4, 23, 3, 19. I would go with this one. Keep the upgrades. What has he got? Chem rounds 1, so we can bounce him up to anti-personnel. This is a heat sink level 2, so he's already there. And then over here, looks like this hammer 2 is a little bit better. He's got chem rounds 1, give him armor piercing. He's got high caliber barrel already. Okay, first aid interface 2, we'll stay with that. That means that I should look at Rex again. Did I give him something for his armor? Yes, I did. Okay, Tally, who is a shotgun specialist. She's already set up there. She's set up here. And she's set up there as well. Okay. Back over to Liara. I don't think I gave her anything for her suit. Plus 20% smash, no. Cooldown reduction is what I would want to go with, I believe. Okay. And really, I don't think I need to spend time on anybody else because Caden and Ashley are just almost never going to come out with me. I think I could probably say the same about Tali now also. So, am I able to omni-gel stuff? Yes. And I have 16,466 on credits, but some of the stuff, the best stuff out there is really expensive, so we want to just continue to save. I don't want to throw these away yet. All right, Ash, do you have anything?
Commander, you have a minute to talk?
I keep an open door policy. If you have any concerns, lay them on me.
All right. I know things are different aboard the Normandy, but I'm concerned about the aliens, Vicarian and Rex. With all due respect, Commander, should they have full access to the ship?
So we're asking a diagnostic question, but you have choices between leading questions. I just think this is the smartest one. Just ask her to expound on what she's thinking.
Don't mince words, Chief. What's your concern?
This is the most advanced ship in the Alliance Navy. I don't think we should give them free rein to poke around the vital systems. Engines, sensors, weapons.
I'm not gonna lock them in the sleeper pods for the whole trip, Williams.
I'd be more comfortable if they didn't have access to engineering and the CIC. We, humanity, have to learn to rely on ourselves.
Standing up for ourselves doesn't mean standing alone.
I don't think we should turn down allies. I just think we shouldn't bet everything on them staying allies.
I mean, she's not wrong.
Members seem now, if their backs are against the wall, they'll abandon us.
As noble as the council members seem now, if their backs are against the wall, they'll abandon us. I don't think she's wrong. Now, I don't know if I would go with her plan, but some of the concepts she's bringing up are correct. That makes sense. You are an absolute naive fool if you don't think that things like that happen all the time. I mean, go read a history book. You know, there are alliances and peace treaties, and there are broken alliances and broken peace treaties. There's double stabbing, there's backstabbing, there's mistrust, there's miscommunication. all kinds of things happen, you know. So for us, though, I don't know what I would say to Ashley right now or how I would explain it. I know within myself, the way that I'm thinking is that you have good versus evil right now. This is an existential fight. And you're not in a position where you can spend all the time and effort that you'd like to vet everybody. My personal disposition is you put your team together of like-minded people and you bet everything on the team. Now she's wanting partial restriction, but I don't know how that would play with team dynamics. If we had done that from the very beginning, yeah, maybe. But now, I mean, Tally's been hanging out in engineering. You know, this is all preachy. See, I wouldn't go with either one of these. I wouldn't go, of course they will, or how cynical. This is preachy, and you are overlaying your worldview and what you're predicting to happen over onto somebody else. She ain't doing nothing wrong by raising concerns.
I don't see that as inevitable.
Look, if you're fighting a bear and the only way for you to survive is to sick your dog on it and run, you'll do it. As much as you love your dog, it isn't human. It's not racism, not really. Members of their species will always be more important to them than humans are.
Totally valid. Yeah, I absolutely agree with what she's saying. I don't know that that's what would bear out with this specific team, but conceptually I understand what she's getting at. What we would say, this is a science fiction thing, right? We're dealing with aliens. In the real world, you don't have aliens. What we would say is that's human nature. Here, that would be sentient being nature. Any thinking thing that understands and values the existence of its own species, there is always a prioritization, a tier system of loyalty. And for us, you can see that in a degree of where your loyalties lie as far as family, neighborhood, nation, and then humanity, for example. And for most people, that's how it works. But for everybody, you're going to find a tiered system of loyalty within them, because at the end of the day, whenever you are faced with a terrible situation that you have to choose, most people are not going to just flip a coin and choose arbitrarily. They will base that on some kind of reasoning. And those reasons are what established their tier system.
You sound like one of those Terra Firma party pamphlets, Chief.
Terra Firma is a pack of jackals. The founders had ideals. These days they just play off xenophobia and bigotry. I hope my reasons are more rational. My father, grandfather, great-grandmother, they all picked up a rifle and swore the oath of service. I guess we just tend to think of Earth's interests as our own.
All right. I can see where your concerns are coming from, Williams. But this is a multilateral mission. You're going to have to work with aliens, like it or not.
It won't be a problem, Commander. You say jump, I say how high. You tell me to kiss a Turian, I'll ask which cheek.
Finally, I got a response that is more close to what I would actually say. Oh, no, not what about me. Holy smokes, we almost went down the wrong path there. Thanks, good, remember that. I think I would say thanks.
I don't think kissing Turians will be necessary.
You never know, Commander.
What's your opinion on the last mission?
Not sure I buy Dr. Tassoni's story about her and her mom not talking. They're family, right?
Not everyone has a happy family life.
No, I guess not. Too bad those ruins got destroyed. I mean, they lasted thousands of years. That's impressive.
We'll talk later, Williams.
Looking forward to it, sir.
Man, this is such quality dialogue. I think it would be a little bit difficult to get this kind of dialogue in today's climate. People are just under a lot of pressure to have this, not have that, stuff like that. But man, it's really what sets it's so relatable. That felt like a real conversation. You know, and it really fleshes out the depth of your team and the things that you're having to deal with and overcome. Like I forget, I don't know what to call it, but it's like a literary device. I think I've used that term before. It's called the hero's journey. It's one of the most classic storytelling methodologies in literature. And what you have to have is you have to have flaws to overcome. And so it makes everything believable. If you take that and then you read a concept like the uncanny valley, you can understand how a conversation that delves into material like that without being too heavy-handed and judgment in either direction helps breach the uncanny valley and makes things feel real, if I'm understanding the uncanny valley correctly. I really like this game.
How are you?
Why did you want to be a CSEC officer in the first place?
That's a good question. There were several reasons, I guess.
Did I hear this before?
Like what?
Probably the same as most officers. I wanted to fight injustice, wanted to help people. I guess my father had something to do with it too. He was CSEC, one of the best. I grew up hearing about his accomplishments or seeing his picture on the vids after a big arrest. He's taking my resignation pretty hard.
That's tough, but you'd think he'd be impressed you're going after Saren.
My father's a CSEC man to the bone. Do things right or don't do them at all, he says. He thinks I'm being too rash, too impatient. He's worried I'll become just like Saren. He actually talked me out of becoming a Spectre when I was younger, for the same reasons.
You were asked to be a Spectre?
Well, I was targeted as a possible Spectre candidate. Me and about 1,000 other Turian military recruits. I could have received special training, but my father didn't like it. He despises the Spectres. He hates the idea of someone having unlimited power with no accountability. He wouldn't like you, Commander. No offense.
Not all Spectres are like Saren, you know.
Of course not. But Saren's not going to play by our rules, CSEC's rules. If you want to nail Saren, you need to send someone who isn't restricted by policies and procedures.
This is my impulse. But as I think about it, I realize that what I have in mind is more like a spec ops position, and those people still answer to somebody. They're given more latitude, and they're given better equipment, and they're specially trained, and they're well funded. You know, but or spies, if you think about spies and stuff like that, they still have accountability. Saren isn't accountable to anybody.
Just because you can break the rules doesn't mean you should. I don't need to stoop to Saren's level to stop him. And neither do you, Garrus.
I see what you mean, but I'll think about it.
I like that answer.
Thanks, Commander.
That Shepard gave. I like that answer. I'm glad I picked that choice. All right, I'm not going to talk to him right now because I already know we need to save money. Okay, Tally should be down here. Yep.
Something I can do for you, Commander.
Looks like we've already
Carry on,
got...
Adams.
Aye, aye, Commander.
He doesn't have anything new to give.
Oh, hello, Shepard.
Hey, you sound... What's going on? This is probably the best response, but I would... myself, I would naturally respond like this.
Are you okay?
I don't know. Your ship is amazing, and your crew's been really great to me. Especially your chief engineer. But I just sort of feel out of place. The Normandy runs so smooth it feels like we're not even moving. And the engines are so quiet. How do you sleep at night?
See, imagine how she would feel if we suddenly came down here and told her, hey, no offense, you're fully part of the team, but we can't have you in engineering anymore. I mean, that would, like, on top of what she's already going through here, that would be very difficult on her. And she's really young. Remember, she's very young. She's out on her own, away from her people, and it would really feel like we put up a wall, you know? I just... That's why I said, maybe if we had started out that way, because Ashley maybe has some valid concerns. If we had begun that way from the very beginning, you could just simply say, it's Alliance procedure, and you'd be telling the truth. It's just procedure. You need a top secret clearance to get into this room. That would be absolutely normal. The vast majority of the crew, our own people included, would not be allowed access, right? But we didn't start that way. It would be a new rule, and everybody would feel the weight of why. And they might interpret it wrongly. Maybe they would think it's because I'm not human, right? Which wouldn't necessarily be our position. We would be thinking because you're not Alliance. But it would be really, really easy for somebody else to think it's because I'm not one of them. It's too quiet to sleep. It's not so bad. I like the silence. I manage. It's too quiet to sleep. Let's go with this.
The silence wakes you up?
Back on the flotilla, the last thing you want to hear is silence. It means an engine's died or an air filter shut down. I guess you don't have to worry about that here. But old habits die hard. But it's more than just the silence. This ship feels so empty. It's like half the crew is missing. Back home, I couldn't wait to go on my pilgrimage. I couldn't wait to get away from the crowds. Now that I'm out here, I kind of miss them.
Yeah, so I kind of knew that that's where she was going. You guys probably knew it too. But the important thing about that was to give her room to expound and get it off her chest, to tell you a little bit about what things are like where she's from. You know, the whole ties that bind thing. That's what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to foster ties that bind. Teamwork. I like this one right here, because this reflects back on her society and lets her know, and maybe reassures her that this is all by design. She's not been cast out. She's not alone. This is part of the growing up process.
Sounds like the pilgrimage isn't just about finding resources for the fleet. Maybe it's about teaching you to appreciate your people and culture.
You're probably right. We Quarians spend our whole lives traveling. But really, we never leave home. The pilgrimage has given me a whole new perspective on our culture. You know, there's always a few who go on their pilgrimages and never return. I always assumed something bad happened to them. But maybe they just wanted a different life.
Yeah, see, whenever I was in college, and I'm letting you know, I went to college late in life whenever I got out of the military. And you can imagine, my classmates were all half my age. So before class would start, I would talk to them. I would kind of chat everybody up. And one of the things that we would get on is the workload. You know, all of the professors acted like you were the only class that they were taking. That was always the complaint. I had that complaint too. The workload was more than any normal human could handle a lot of times. I thought, and I had to take fewer classes per semester than some of these people. Some of these people were I think I took 4 or 5 classes a semester, guys. It was fairly easy for me. Average was 7, I believe, and some people were taking up to 10 classes a semester. And but what I told them is, I said, I don't know what the truth is. I don't know if it's probably going to depend on the professor. Some of them probably really do assign you the work as if they're the only class you're taking, because they're a PhD and there's a lot to unpack. There's a lot of material. It's a real challenge to condense that down to a 101 class, right? Whenever you hold a PhD in something, and you want your students to get so much out of an area that you feel is absolutely vital. I mean, that's why you have a PhD in the area. It's of great interest to you, right? But I told them, regardless of what the intention is, I can tell you that this is a great training lesson for life in general, for real, actual, practical application life skills, because life is going to throw you a whole lot. Life doesn't understand the word fair. It's not there. It's not going to balance everything out for you or for everybody else. All of you are going to have varying courses to run, different uphill challenges. You're going to look at the person next to you and wonder why they have it so easy and you've got such an uphill thing. That's a mistake also. You're going to have it easy in other areas that they have uphill challenges in. But the point is that you're going to have to make choices on what you do and what you don't do. Whenever you get assigned 15 chapters of reading, but you've got 8 other classes that you got to get through, how are you going to prioritize that? Are you going to literally do every little thing? I spoke to a professor one time. They flat out said, we know that you guys don't do all the reading that we give you. It's not possible. They understand that. You figuring out how to prioritize what you actually do and what you just say that you do, and you do enough to get by the test, that's a whole part of managing life, so I don't know if that's maybe helpful to anybody listening to this or if it makes sense to everybody out there, but I wanted to mention that, one, for the benefit of my audience. I think it's a helpful thing to understand. It gives you a different lens to view things through, rather than seeing yourself as a victim or seeing the teacher as a tyrant, right? But also for Tally here in the game, I really liked that response that Shepard gave, because I think it gives her a tool to understand and view the world through a more positive lens than what she might have otherwise done. All right, there's always a few who go on their pilgrimages and never return. I always assume something bad happened to them, but maybe they just wanted a different life. I don't want to give her this response. I mean, that might be true. Oh, well, we've been through all this. I think I'm going to leave that one hanging. This probably is a legitimate dialogue option. Well, I don't know. Let's go ahead and click it.
You do plan to return to the migrant fleet, right?
I could never abandon my people, Shepard. I will go back eventually, but we have to stop Saren first. Otherwise, I might not have a home to go back to.
All right.
I should go.
See you later.
Man, yippee-ki-yay, I really like this game. You guys are going to hear me say that so many times. I might get alarmed at myself over how often I say it. I can't find Liara. Where else would she be at? Is she in the med bay? We told her to go see the doctor.
Yes, Commander? Is there something you need?
That was a little loud in my headphones.
How well do you know the lieutenant?
I'd never worked with him before this mission. But he has an impressive service record, over a dozen special commendations. Tends to keep to himself, though. Maybe because of the headaches. It's not easy being an L2.
Okay, so we've heard all this.
I should go.
Goodbye, Commander.
Yep, there she is.
Commander, are you coming to check up on me?
Well, I don't think I would say I was worried. I think I would just ask her how she's feeling.
You look much better. How are you feeling?
Dr. Chakwas assures me I am going to be fine. I was impressed with her knowledge of Asari physiology.
You're in good hands. Dr. Chakwas knows what she's doing.
I never properly thanked you for saving me from the Geth, Commander. If you hadn't shown up,
So they really zoom in on Liara's face. You get the eyes, the eye reflections, and I think they did that on purpose. Everything I read online said that this is the most natural romance for Shepard, so I think they maybe wrote it with that, and I think that's what they intended. That's why you have the close-ups of both of them, honestly. No. I don't think I would say don't mention it. You're welcome.
I'm just glad we got there in time.
so am I. I know you took a chance bringing me aboard this ship. I have seen the way your crew looks at me. They do not trust me. But I am not like Benezia. I will do whatever I can to help you stop Saren. I promise.
Yeah, Benezia might be a problem in the future. Well, I'm gonna go with this, and I hope he says it in a diplomatic way. I have my doubts. But the way that I would phrase this is I would say, I absolutely trust your intentions, but it's a big ask for most people when it's talking about family, and so you need to be going over this in your mind and make sure you know where you're at. Something I don't think I would put it to her like that in those kinds of words just yet. I would have to think about how I would phrase it because she's brand spanking new to the team. I might even shelve it for a minute, but let's go ahead and open up the dialogue option and see what it says.
Promises are easy to make, but hard to keep.
I do not begrudge you your suspicions. I just hope in time you will come to trust me.
I'd like to talk about you. Yeah.
Tell me about yourself, Liara.
Me? I am afraid I am not very interesting, Commander. I spend most of my time on remote digs, unearthing mundane items buried in long-forgotten Prothean ruins.
Doesn't that seem to be a little bit strong? I don't think I would do that just yet.
You must enjoy something about it.
I love my work. Seeking out history's lost secrets has a special appeal for me. You were actually touched by working Prothean technology. That is why I find you so fascinating, Commander.
Don't try studying me. Look, you can't ask a woman to not study you. It's part of it comes with the territory.
Sounds like you want to dissect me in a lab somewhere.
Yeah,
What?
you can joke.
No, I did not mean to insinuate. I never meant to offend you, Shepard. I only meant that you would be an interesting specimen for an in-depth study. No, that's even worse.
Oh man, I like her. Her social anxiety is kind of adorable. Let's go. Oh, this would be establishing kind of the firm hand. If you wanted to start implanting yourself in her mind as somebody who could be her anchor, I just think we got 3 games to play. We can slow roll it a little bit more, and I think I would just tell her I would. This is the real relax answer right here, in my opinion. It diffuses and kind of lets her down a little bit. This one right here, I think. I'm probably not reading this correctly, but my opinion is that this is going down a road of manipulation and you kind of know what you're doing. And you're doing it on purpose, right? And I'm not ready to start pulling those handles yet.
Calm down, Liara. I was only joking.
Joking? Oh, by the goddess, how could I be so dense? You must think I am a complete and utter fool. Now you know why I prefer to spend my time in the field with data disks and computers. I always seem to say something embarrassing around other people. Please, just pretend this conversation never happened.
See, I'm kind of like her. I'm very literal-minded, so I miss stuff like that all the time.
Do you know why Benezia joined up with Saren?
I don't understand it. She was always outspoken about the need for the Asari to become more involved in shaping galactic events. Maybe she thought allying herself with Saren would somehow be for the greater good in the long run. At least I hope so.
I mean, this is what I'm thinking, but I'm not ready to be this forward or blunt with Liara. We just met this girl today.
This hurts you, doesn't it?
None of this makes any sense to me. I have not spoken to Benezia in many years, but I know her, and this was not like her. Something changed.
Yeah, she's probably been around a long time, and she's read the calculus on the universe. She's kind of stuck her finger in the air and seen which way the wind is blowing and decided there's really only one option here. Which is very pragmatic of her, but not very noble, right?
I'd like to know more about the Asari.
We were the first species to discover the Citadel. We were instrumental in forming the Council, and we always strive to be the voice of peaceful cooperation in galactic disputes. My people believe we are all part of a single galactic community. Each species contributes something to the greater whole. Although we seek to understand other species, it seems few of them seek to understand us. The galaxy is filled with rumors and misinformation about my people.
So as we're talking to Liara, try to keep in mind about how these are space elves. And I think that a really good way to think about things from Liara's perspective is to reflect on the first Lord of the Rings. I think it was the first one. Where, I forget her character name, and I don't know her real name in life either, but Steven Tyler's daughter, the elf girl that was in love with, is it Aragon? Is that his name? And the conversation that she had with her dad whenever he told her how her future would go, you know, because he's transient, he's human. She would absolutely give her heart to somebody. And that's a forever kind of decision that you never really fully walk away from, even if you're forced to. You never really fully extract your... I don't think so. Maybe some people do. That's not been my experience. I think there's something of you that will forever be tied to anyone that you've ever given your heart to. That's why it's a big decision, right? And but he would pass away, and she would go on for millennia, you know, always kind of with that haunting memory in the back of her mind somewhere. And that's the risks that Liara would be taking on by falling for Shepard.
Like what?
Most of the inaccuracies are centered around our mating rituals. My species is monogendered. Male and female have no real meaning for us. We still require a partner to reproduce. This second parent, however, may be of any species and any gender.
That's nuts. So they're kind of like earthworms? No, earthworms are asexual. They don't need a partner, if I remember right.
I don't understand. Your species can mate with anyone?
Mating is not quite the proper term, not as you understand it. Physical contact may or may not be involved, but it is not an essential element of the union. The true connection is mental. Our physiology allows us to meld with other beings. We can touch the very depths of their minds. We explore the genetic memory of their species. We share the most basic elements of their individual and racial identities. We then pass these traits on to our daughters. It is how we learn to grow as a species and how we develop a greater understanding of other races.
Hey man, without getting too graphic or anything, that sounds freaking hot. that's nuts. That's a whole different level of. We're talking like some what was that movie? It had Sylvester Stallone in it. And Dennis Rodman was the bad guy. And what was that girl's name? I really like her as an actress too. I always forget her name though. She had kind of a thing for Keanu Reeves. I can't think of her name. She was in a movie called Miss Congeniality also. Anyway, you know, Sylvester Stallone wakes up in the future and they have this mind thing that you put on. And this sounds like it just would bring another dimension. Like it would be a whole nother level of, we'll call it social interaction. What about the other parent? We develop a greater understanding of other races. It is how we learn to grow as a species.
What happens to your partner after the union?
Every relationship is different. Some unions are a single encounter with both parents parting ways afterwards. Others can be more long-term. Sometimes an Asari and her partner will stay together for many decades.
So they don't really do this very many decades. That to her is like special. So they don't really do monogamy or long-term relationships as a culture. So what I have planned here would be way outside of the life experience of Liara. It'd be a pretty big departure for her.
Do you know who Matriarch Benezia chose as her partner?
She rarely spoke of her partner, though I know my father, if you want to use that term, was another Asari.
I thought you always needed another species to serve as one of the parents.
Think about it, Shepard. If we were not able to mate with our own species, we would have died out long before we ever mastered spaceflight and left our homeworld.
Yeah, that
Union
makes
with
sense.
our own kind is no longer common, not for the purposes of reproduction. Most Asari believe it weakens our species. Asari daughters inherit racial traits from the father species. If both parents are Asari, then nothing has been gained, or so conventional wisdom would hold.
Oh,
I am what
man.
is sometimes called a pureblood, though no Asari would ever be cruel enough to say the word to my face. It is a great insult among my people. It is possible Benezia's partner was embarrassed by their union. She may have been too ashamed to publicly acknowledge me as her offspring.
So that's a big deal for Liara, but it also means that Benezia was probably truly in love and not just looking to procreate. I think I'd go here.
Why agree to the union if she didn't want any children?
I cannot answer that. This is all speculation on my part. It is possible she wanted to be part of my life, but something happened to her before she had the chance. Benezia never spoke of her partner. Whatever happened, it caused her too much pain to dwell on it. She raised me by herself, though that is not uncommon. Many Asari raise their children alone, particularly if the father species is short-lived. Often the partner will pass on long before the child reaches maturity.
You Asari live for 1,000 years. What happens when your partner dies?
Few sapient species live as long as my kind. We have learned to take a philosophical approach to our unions. We do not focus on the inevitable loss of our partners. Instead, we enjoy the time we spend with them.
Okay.
And even after they're gone, a part of them lives on in us. The union is a connection that transcends both time and space.
So maybe the things that I brought up about the parallel to the Lord of the Rings would be not a direct parallel here. Although it does sound to me like, naturally speaking, this is still not necessarily okay with Asari. They've had to find a philosophical approach to justify or reason or be able to bear it. That's what that sounds like to me. It's a way to understand it. And people don't usually find ways to understand something if it's desired in the first place. Nobody finds a way to understand liking ice cream every now and again. Unless liking ice cream becomes a problem, right? And you're eating too much of it. Let's see. We did Who Was Your Father? We did Asari culture. It seemed like there were some other options here.
Benezia chose as her partner?
She rarely spoke of her partner. Though I know my father, if you want to use that term, was another Asari.
Benezia never told you her partner's name?
Union with our own kind is no longer common, not for the purposes of reproduction. Most Asari believe it weakens our species. Asari daughters inherit racial traits from the father species. If both parents are Asari, then nothing has been gained, or so conventional wisdom would hold. I am what is sometimes called a pureblood, though no Asari would ever be cruel enough to say the word to my face. It is a great insult among my people. It is possible Benezia's partner was embarrassed by their union. She may have been too ashamed to publicly acknowledge me as her offspring.
I know we heard this before, but I was looking at that and I wanted to kind of see that again. So for them, staying within their species is synonymous with us staying within our family. You know, you ever heard that joke, you have a family trunk, not a family tree? Right. So that's, I think, what they're looking at here. And it used to be back in the days of nobility and stuff that you did have a lot of interfamily, and it was with the idea of keeping the bloodline pure, and it produced problems, genetical trait problems. Inbred, yeah. Kids that were born from parents that were too closely related began to receive genetic defects.
Maybe she wanted to meet you but couldn't. Something could have happened to her. Maybe she passed away.
No, she didn't pass
You
away.
might be right. I hope you are. But I have no way to know for sure. Benezia never spoke of her partner. Whatever happened, it caused her too much pain to dwell on it. She raised me by herself, though that is not uncommon. Many Asari raise their children alone, particularly if the father species is short-lived. Often the partner will pass on long before the child reaches maturity.
All right.
I should go.
Goodbye, Shepard.
So we have a backstory on Asari in general, and Liara in specific. No, we need to go up a level, don't we? Oh, here we go, the staircase. Okay, so we can leave this system. Is it escape? Yeah. Trying to remember where the mission was to check on that brother's trade vessel, since we heard that info from Rex. I think it was Argos Row. Attican Beta, Armstrong Nebula, Kepler, and Hawking. Well, I think it was Argos Row, so we're going to go to Hydra.
Message coming in. Patching it through.
Commander Shepard, my name is Nasana Dantius. I have a job for you. I can't say any more in an unsecured communication.
That sounds a little like
If
Ashley.
you're interested in hearing my offer, meet me on the Citadel so we can talk in person. I'll be waiting in the Diplomat's Lounge on the Presidium.
All right. Oh, you know what I can do? I can access my journal. Alright, so Asari diplomacy, meet with Nasana. Valuable minerals. To maintain its fleet and continue to expand, the Alliance must find new resources. Okay. Fanatical biotics in the Hades Gamma cluster of kidnapped chairman. Missing survey team. Asked you to look for his missing brother. Go to the Strenuous system in the Horsehead Nebula. There we go. So we have a whole lot of quests to take care of. Noveria, Savarag. Let's try Noveria. Noveria is a small frozen terrestrial world barely habitable by conventional definitions. It is privately chartered by the Noveria Development Corporation, who lease out labs to perform research too dangerous or controversial to be performed elsewhere. Given Noveria's unique situation, it is the source of many wild conspiracy theories. Neg 1 degrees Celsius. Okay, what about the other one? Svarg is a small but typical hydrogen-helium gas giant whose orbit lies quite close to the star. It is unusual for a star with a close orbiting gas giant to have a habitable world. Svarg is Pax's only gas giant, but its temperature, powerful winds, and high orbital velocity make it a poor candidate for helium-3 mining. While Noveria enjoys plentiful deuterium for its fusion plants, it imports all of its helium-3 from out-system. Okay, and is there no way to do like a system scan or something? Oh, here we can survey. Velis has a thin atmosphere of xenon and krypton. Most other materials have frozen and fallen as snow. Its surface is composed of potassium with deposits of magnesium. While investigating the primitive anaerobic life of Velis, Binary Helix survey teams discovered a cunningly hidden anchorage of the ancient Krogan warlord Moro. Many records and artifacts of the Krogan rebellions were recovered and sold at auction. The empty base is now abandoned. Matriarch's writings recovered. Scans of the planet Veles revealed a small abandoned vessel. Your salvage team brought the ship on board and dismantled it, whereupon they discovered one of the Matriarch Dilanaga's writings. Okay, well, I guess we're going to go land on Noveria.
Approach control, this is the SSV Normandy, requesting a vector into berth.
Normandy, your arrival was not scheduled. Our defense grid is armed and tracking you. State your business.
Citadel business. We got a Council Spectre aboard.
Landing access granted, Normandy.
I don't sound thrilled.
Advised, we will be confirming identification on arrival. If confirmation cannot be established, your vessel will be impounded.
What a fun bunch. I think I'll take my next leave here.
Okay. That's where we're going to create the save point. And this went a little longer than I was expecting, so I think I'm done for today. Maybe later today I'll record another episode, but I've been doing good with one episode a day. At any rate, we are finished with this episode. The game, man, it's so much development. I hope you guys are enjoying it. I sure am having fun playing it. All right, everybody. Again, I'm Aesop Grimm. Thanks for coming by the channel. I hope you like what you saw, and I hope all is well in your neck of the woods. I will see you in the next episode where this story continues.